be supported.
Louise Upston.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I was proud to be a member of the Local Government and Environment Select Committee that considered this piece of legislation. So I find it quite offensive, some of the comments that are made on that side of the House, suggesting that the Select Committee members from this side of the House weren't interested in exploring the concepts of the bill. It's fair to say that this government very clearly supports clean energy, clean technology, renewable energy, focusing on electric cars. Absolutely, in my own electorate, Mr Speaker, of Taupō, in the Clean Energy Centre, we saw an expo last year that was showing really exciting opportunities for development, both in terms of biofuels also and in terms of electric cars. So, Mr Speaker, I'm more interested in examples from my own electorate than words that side are spouting without anything to back it up. So, if you actually look, Mr Speaker, at the submissions, and one of the submissions clearly was from the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, there was in general support of the intent, but the difficulty was, Mr Speaker, was that the intent was not going to be delivered by what was being described in this bill. And I want to give a couple of specific examples, Mr Speaker. In the words of one of the submitters, the Bioenergy Association of New Zealand. Now, this is a group you would assume would support the bill, right? You would think they would have an interest in it, right? But their main objection, listen to what I've got to say, their main objection is that they didn't want to create barriers to new industries of biofuels who were competing with long-term industry. They didn't want to see barriers for entry for new biofuels to be developed. Now, that's not my words, Mr Speaker. Those are the words of one of the submitters who's concerned about the fact that they can't see new technologies. No, Mr Speaker, they wanted to see new technologies being developed. I'm directly quoting. So, Mr Speaker, it's quite interesting. If you look at other examples, Air New Zealand, now they've got a significant interest in showing that they are sustainable, of changing the way they practice, using new technologies in their business. But this is what they said. They agree with the principles. They don't believe they need to legislate, and the way the bill is drafted, it is too prescriptive. So this is not necessarily, Mr Speaker, about the intent. It's not about sustainable biofuels. It's about the actual bill and whether or not it was going to be able to deliver the intended outcome. So this side of the House, I'm very proud to be a blue-green. It's an incredibly important part of where this government is going in terms of the balance between the environment and the economy. There are jobs being created in my electorate through clean energy, but we've got to make sure if we pass legislation that it is good legislation. So the reason that we're not able to support this is because it's actually not going to deliver the intent. And, Mr Speaker, if the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, who I hold in very high regard, doesn't believe this piece of legislation as it was drafted, and we took quite a lot of detail and time through the Select Committee process, even to the extent of setting up a subcommittee to work on it further, Mr Speaker, we can't support it.
I'm sorry to interrupt the member. The time has come for the dinner break. I shall resume the chair at 7:30.